are you today?
Pretty good. How are you?
Good. Thanks so much for speaking with me.
Yeah, of course.
Let's talk the new movie. First off, how excited are you that it's finally out here? And well, not quite out yet, but how excited are
Yeah,
you for fans to see it?
I'm super excited. I mean, I started writing this movie probably 5 or 6 years ago, so it's been a long journey to get it made and get it out there. So no, I'm super excited, and everything so far, seems people are really into it, and I mean, Lucy obviously has so many fans, and this is such a new kind of role for her. So yeah, I think it'll do pretty well. Hopefully people enjoy it.
Where'd the inspiration for this come from?
Well, so my dad is like this kind of amateur volunteer botanist, and he was working out in the desert of Borrego Desert in California, which is where the
Mhm.
movie's set. And he basically found this plant with some others that was growing out there that wasn't supposed to exist. It was like an invasive plant, and they were going to bring in a botanist to kind of study that. And he told me that, and I was like, the whole kind of story just kind of hit me. It was just like, because it was such an amazing kind of setup for why someone would be moving to a small little town in the middle of
Mhm.
nowhere. And from there, I was researching kind of the area, and I found a story of an ultralight airplane that crashed, bringing drugs over the border. And so I kind of put the two together. I didn't ever really want to make a cartel movie or a drug movie, but it was kind of the way to kind of set off the action and tell more of a story around survival, like a survival thriller, but really
Mhm.
where all the characters were kind of having to make these different choices. And yeah, that was kind of really where it came from. Yeah.
And how did Lucy come to join the movie?
So after the script was kind of starting to get out there, I shot this proof of concept kind of short film that was kind of, I took a character from the movie and kind of wrote a backstory. I made this little short. So those two things I started sending out to people, and eventually got a casting director to help me out. And she sent it on to the agencies basically to see like, hey, would anyone maybe be a fit for this or interested? And Lucy's name was one that came back.
Mhm.
And uh, I mean, I obviously knew Lucy, who she was. She was, obviously very famous and would add a lot of value. At first, I wasn't quite sure if she was the right fit for this, just because she hadn't done anything like this. But after watching some more of her stuff and meeting her, I realized she's just this incredible actress, just waiting to explode. She just hasn't had really very many kind of serious, kind of intense things like this, but that she had all that within her. And as I mean, if you've seen it, you can tell that she does, because she's just really incredible in it. And was so great to work with. I mean, it was kind of it was amazing just to watch her every day.
Mhm.
Honestly, how good she was. Every single take after take, doing the same. She could have her tear come at the same moment in every take, basically. I mean, it was just crazy. But it also didn't feel fake or forced ever. And yeah, so she read the script, and I met with her, and uh, yeah, she was just really excited. She tells the story where she basically, when we met, she like spilled this drink on me, and so she always says that she felt sorry, and basically that was why she had to say yes in the meeting to doing it. But she actually did really like it. And no, she also stuck with us for a couple of years, because we attached her, but then it still took almost 2 years to get the money together and put it all together. And she stuck with this, and she eventually was the one who actually sent the script to a producer, who then brought on some other producers, who then brought on the money. And so she
Oh,
really, that's
wow.
why she also kind of was the executive producer. She really championed it and helped us get it made.
Well, I
Yeah.
think what I loved most about watching the movie is just how simple, and I hate using that word because it makes it seem like the wrong connotation, but there was no huge, over the top special effects, tons of dialogue or like filler scenes. You got directly to the point, and you
Yeah.
stuck to the point. And I felt that you trusted the actors enough that they didn't need tons and tons of dialogue to get through, a scene or to portray a certain emotion. Is that kind of something that was from the get-go your thought, or was it not until you cast that you said, man, I actually have a much more talented cast that can pull this off without all of the nitty-gritty details?
Yeah, no, it was definitely an intention. I mean, I think from my experience. So I made this feature basically instead of going to college or film school when I was 17 years old. But that was my only other narrative experience, really, until I made this proof of concept short. But otherwise, I spent the last 10 years doing commercials. And so with commercials, there is also not a lot of dialogue usually,
Mhm.
depending on the ones, but a lot of stuff I was doing. And so I think I definitely learned how to tell a story without a lot of dialogue. And so when it came to writing it too, I kind of like this idea, especially because the two main characters can't really communicate that much either. You know, there could be a lot of really interesting drama and moments just in not saying anything for sure. And a lot of really great movies can do that, right? And so I knew that finding actors that were really incredible I mean, that was just everything. And so that was actually what was great about getting Lucy. Is it allowed us with her value that she brought to be able to cast maybe lesser known people in a lot of the other roles, because she kind of was enough value kind of to make the movie. And so people like Leonard Gomez, who plays Tomas, you know, this was his first American movie, you know, his first movie in English. Like basically had to find him on Instagram and hunt him down to get him to cast him. You know, like it was a lot of that, just watching random things to find these people, but they were so amazing. Yeah. So I knew, they would be able to do it. And then of course, though, when we went into it, like a lot of them had ideas, especially Jorge and Leonard, you know, who are actually from Latin America. Like they were able to kind of take things from their own lives. We actually changed Leonard's character to not be Mexican, but be Central American, because he's Costa Rican. He's from Central America, and like really bring some stuff from their own life into it. And then obviously too, the scenes, especially in Spanish, where like my Spanish is not very good. So like I really had to trust them for sure in those moments. And they took a lot more liberty with the dialogue and kind of making it sound totally authentic and things they would say. But yeah, no, I mean, that was the intention, but obviously it was only possible because of how great the actors were.
One of the other, at least I think, major characters in your movie is, of course, the setting.
Mhm.
And that was the big thing we talked about. I talked to a number of your cast yesterday, and they all kept saying, well, we were supposed to shoot in California, but we ended up in Spain. So,
Yeah.
how obviously the change, how did that impact the story? And then once you got there and you're shooting in Spain, you did some amazing shots there, really played up that location. So how did that process come to be?
Thanks. Yeah, well, so we were getting ready to go make the movie in the spring of 2020, and then COVID happened and shut that plan down. And then it became clear it was just going to be too hard to try to shoot this in California in 2020, which was still with so much more lockdowns and harder permitting and stuff. And so, I had looked at Spain a couple years back earlier because I had known about it as a desert location from movies. Lost spaghetti westerns, classic things have been shot there. But before COVID, it never made sense to go all the way to Spain to shoot this movie right in our backyard where it was set. And so, but it started to become more of a real thing because Europe was opening up more. It was going to be a lot easier to go film there. We could, maybe get a little more for our money over there. I mean, it's a little bit of a wash when you have to travel and, transfer your money and all that stuff. But it had everything. And so, I mean, I obviously looked at locations, we had a scout helping us. But even before I went there, I was still not 100% sure. I thought maybe we'd have to go shoot some more stuff back in California later or something. But really, it was almost a near perfect match in so many ways. It really was crazy. All the canyons, everything that I'd already written in the script that I had scouted. I spent months scouting in California. And so it actually was really helpful because I was able to kind of take photos of everything I wanted that I'd already picked I literally picked every location. We were really moved far along the process in California. And so I was able to take that and basically go and find that in Spain and spend, like a month just in a car with a guide, a scout out there, just finding those things, running up little canyons. And we shot in all these places no one has ever shot before because we just would go down some wash or something and find something. But I mean, obviously logistically production hated it because, some of these locations you could only get to on we'd have to put everything into a pickup truck and just take it down the road because no other vehicle could get down there, So it was very much, it felt like we were making a student film almost at times. I mean, it basically was. I mean, the budget of this was not very big at all. And so we put everything we had into the screen, which of course was the location. I mean, from the beginning, it was always, the idea for me was it always was going to be a huge character. And also I really wanted it to be a character, not just get lost in the background. Because so many movies, it's like they shoot on, anamorphic lenses, or they put out the depth of field so you can't see anything. It's like, I wanted the opposite of that. So I really wanted to keep the focus deep always and really feel the desert there and feel that we were part of it with them. And so, yeah, that was all super intentional. And we did go back to California in 2021 as we were finishing up the editing just to get a few aerials. So most of the aerial shots are from California, from the actual desert. And we reshot one little scene when she comes to the town. That is really Borrego Springs. But otherwise, the rest of the movie was all shot in Spain, and kind of is all a perfect match. Yeah.
Nice. Well, for my final question for you today, what are you hoping fans get from the movie?
I just hope they have some great entertainment. I think for me, I was never trying to make some groundbreaking, statement or huge masterpiece or anything like that. Like I wanted a movie that was like from, I don't know, from when I was growing up, where it was like it had lots of action and thrills and was fun to watch, but it also, had characters that were meant something and had some sort of,
Mhm.
background or something going for them. So it was all like a blending of styles, like an indie kind of sensibility mixed with a more commercial thing, and I felt like there just wasn't a lot of that. And I think people like those kind of movies. And so, that's what we're hoping for. I mean, it's already seems to be, it's already in the top 10 on pre-orders right now on Apple. I mean, I think people are getting really excited about it. And hopefully word spreads and people are into it. But I just hope we can entertain people and give them something that's a little fresh and different than what else is out there right now.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for speaking with me today. I'm so excited for everyone to see the movie.
Yeah, thanks so much. Appreciate it.